Ah, the good old Soviet Union. Nothing bad can come from there, right? Well, today I'm going to find out if that's true by rating some games for the Soviet brand Electronika BK series of home computers. Now, there isn't a lot of info available for these games, and even if I could find some, it would probably be in Russian, which I don't speak. So most information is gleaned from the game's actual menus, which sometimes provides a release year and a publisher. The first game we shall be looking at is called Blockout. It says it was published by RDA Corporation, but the only thing I can find on Google about an RDA Corp is an American IT company. Definitely not a game publisher from the former Soviet Union. The game appears to be an unofficial port of Blockout, which was released to arcades in 1989 and to this Genesis/Mega Drive in 1991, which means this game was probably released sometime after 1989. This game plays exactly like the other two releases of this game, basically just 3D Tetris. There are two ways to configure the difficulty of this game. You can change the block complexity, and you can change the block speed. Now, I don't know exactly which changes which, because I don't speak Russian. Setting both values to 1 makes the game a cakewalk, while setting them both to their max, 9 and 3, makes the game literally impossible. So while this is just a port of an actual game, not an original idea, it's still pretty fun and quite impressive considering the hardware. If I was a starving child in the USSR, I would definitely enjoy this. 7 out of 10. This next one is called Bally. This game has an exact release date, or what I assume to be its release date, February 26, 1990, by Bill Corp. Also no information on them, and from what I can tell, it seems to be an original game, not just a clone. The game sort of reminds me of Moonlander, but 100% worse, because horizontal movements are caused by random gusts of winds. Oh, also, you get shot by missiles on the second level. The only control you actually get is moving your hot air balloon up. And now you have to use all these bad game mechanics to land on this tiny little platform. The first level is easy enough, if not just tedious. But the second level, with that missile launcher, it just felt impossible to me. But maybe I'm just bad at games. I feel that if you added horizontal movement, even just a little bit, it would be much better. You could even keep the wind mechanic. So yeah, maybe I'm just bad at games, but 3 out of 10. Next one up, a horrible Snake clone called Boa and Apples, made in 1988 by ABH Corp. But why is this game horrible? 2 words, unresponsive controls. You'd think it'd be pretty hard to make a bad Snake game. It's just the line that goes wah, 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 wah. But they did it. They somehow ruined the controls. They're so unresponsive that it feels like my keyboard is broken. But don't worry, I've tested my keyboard and it is definitely not broken. This game is just that bad. And in combination with these horrible controls, they also decided for some reason to put random blocks around the map. At first, I thought the blocks were randomly generated, a way to add dynamic challenge. When you die, there's a new set of obstacles that you have to navigate around. But once you die, you realize the blocks are in the same exact place. So whoever was making this game specifically put those blocks there. So yeah, pretty bad Snake clone, 2 out of 10. By the title of this one, you'd expect it to be bad, but A Castle That Makes a Horror is actually a decent maze puzzle game thing. Man, I can't believe I'm creating this genre. If you played any amount of games from the 8-bit computer era, you know what I'm talking about. You walk around a purple castle, avoiding monsters and collecting whatever these things are supposed to be. There are some points in the game that I get confused by. It seems in some sections the only way to get past monsters is to walk through them and take damage. Luckily, there are healing items in the form of flowers in some places. Now, there appears to be a glitch that when you have a key and die and then respawn, you can't pick up a key again, meaning that you'll easily get stuck, just like I did. And the only way to reset is reset the entire game, meaning I had to go back to the main menu and lost all my progress. There also is an editor, which unfortunately is non-functional. But besides those few issues, it's still pretty fun. 6 out of 10. Cosmic Builder. This one confused the heck out of me. It doesn't have a release year, but it does have a publisher. OS Corp. Sure I'm pronouncing that correctly? Following that unreadable title card, we have what kind of looks like instructions or maybe a story. Too bad I don't speak Russian, and Google Translate sucks. All the other games that I've played have all had a menu where you can change the control settings and stuff like that. But this one, you just shove straight into the game. I have no idea what the objective is in this game. It reminds me of an Atari 2600 game with their extremely confusing graphics and lack of instructions. I guess this game does have instructions. I just can't read it. And I can't really blame the game on the fact I can't speak its language. But I'm going to do it anyways. 1 out of 10. Wow, another unofficial port. This port of Exolon sucks. Why? Because it doesn't even run. Not much to say except 0 to 10 because it doesn't run. And next, we have a game about planes. Or specifically one plane. This plane. Although it looks more like a spaceship, Planes is a horizontal shoot-'em-up that for some reason moves in the opposite direction that most go. Instead of moving the usual left to right, this one is right to left. Another thing in this game that confused me are the power-ups. They don't seem to do anything, even when you press the alternative fire button. So while this game isn't technically bad, it's a bit boring. 5 out of 10. Don't let the name of this game fool you. It's not another unofficial port. Instead, R-Type, released by AVD, is a vertical shooter that doesn't seem to be related to the real R-Type at all, except for the fact that they're both shooters. And this one, oh boy, it is terrible. It's slow, it's boring, and somehow it runs worse than the previous game, even though the previous game had more sprites on the screen than this one. 3 out of 10. Star War. A game about star and war and nothing to do with Star Wars. Surprisingly, it's a fun game, though. You get to choose a class, which from what I can tell, the only difference between classes is their speed, and you fight waves of spaceships as they bomb you and other parked UFOs. If you die, you can respawn as one of the parked UFOs, unless they're all destroyed. Then you lose, and the game closes itself. I don't really know why the game closes when you lose. Still pretty fun. 5 out of 10. And now, it's time for the final game, Ultima Zone. Finally, a good game. I absolutely love the Ultima series, so a port, even an unofficial one, would be great. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. If you couldn't already tell, this game has nothing to do with Ultima. It's like Space Invaders, but slightly different. Instead of all the enemies coming out at once, they come out periodically, and instead of destroying shields, they destroy platforms beneath you, which releases the balls. Unfortunately, there's a glitch where you can't move on to the second level. I even tried destroying the balls, but they just seem to bounce off my laser. So I'd like to play this game, but I can't really. 4 out of 10. That's all the fun Soviet games we played today. Only 3 of them were fun, and a couple of them weren't even playable. Yeah, they didn't make very good games in the Soviet Union, not gonna lie.